All right, guys, you tore your ACL, you rehabbed, now you're back to sport. Congratulations. What's next? Conversation we're having with our clients, whether you're an athlete competitively or recreationally, your job is not done once you've checked that box off for a return to sport. I don't care what your surgeon says. I don't care what your rehab specialist says. I don't care what your parents, your coach says, or your teammates, or what anybody else did. Your job is not done once you check off that box for a return to sport. Believe it or not, the injury rates or re-injury rates for ACL injuries or other leg ACL injuries stays elevated for up to 2 years. Numbers all over the map from 10% to 15 to 30% of an increased risk of tearing your ACL again or your other leg that did not have the surgery just because you spend so much time focusing on the rehab leg. So what does this mean for you? Well, we don't want you to totally neglect all of your training that you did during rehab and getting back into your sport and getting healthy again. You need to get back into the gym. You need to stay on a strength plan. You need to stay on a neuromuscular plan for agility, balance, proprioception. All that fun stuff that you did throughout your rehab, you need to continue doing for years after you've already returned to sport. This is non-negotiable for us. Sorry to say. We want to keep you guys healthy, but follow along and you'll get some tips as far as what you need to keep doing for a couple years afterwards.
There's a fine line between rehab and performance training. To be honest, if you're doing your rehab correctly, that line should get blurred pretty quickly. And specifically, when rehabbing ACL, two of the main goals should be maximizing your strength of the leg and then perfecting the ability of your body to move rapidly in multiple directions. That's just what it takes in order to prepare your body for the highest level of demand. And these kind of demands are what we call a level 1 activity. It means moving in different directions pretty quickly. And this can't be fast-tracked. It takes time to get your knee ready. It takes months to get strong enough and controlled enough to hop back into those types of movements, pun intended. We're not making this up. You'll find a commonly accepted timeline and a continuum of demands in order for your body to meet when going through your ACL rehab. If your goal is to run in a straight line, then that timeline is going to be a little bit shorter because the demands are less. But if you want to get back to higher level activity, demands like sprinting, jumping, cutting, and all that, then you're committing to something more comprehensive and it's going to take a little bit longer. Because taking shortcuts, that's only going to lead to poor outcomes.
There's a reason we have this continuum for return to sport after an ACL reconstruction. So if you're playing one of those level 1 sports, which involves a lot of cutting, pivoting, changing direction, and explosive movements, you're going to fall into that 8, 9, 10-month range of return to sport. You're going to see a lot of surgeons that are going to recommend this as well. And that's because there's research that has shown that if you wait after 5 months, every single month that you wait, and assuming you're doing your correct rehab, your risk of injury or re-injury to the graft and to the ACL reconstruction goes down by about 50 to 51% every single month that you wait. So if the re-injury rate of return to sport at 5 months or sooner is 100%, and again, that's just what it shows. So if 100% of people re-tear their ACL if they return to sport at 5 months or sooner, every month that you wait after that 5-month mark, your risk of injury goes down by about half. So you could see at 5 months you have a 100% re-injury rate, then at 6 months you have 50%, right? And then you have 25%, then you have 12%, and so forth. So that's why most people are going to fall into this 8, 9, 10-month range of return to sport safely, and we just want to abide by that. It's just what can safely be done according to the statistics that we have today. All right, you hit that 9, 10-month mark, that return to sport. Now what? All right, we know you're anxious. We want to get you back on the field, on the court, whatever it is, participating in your sport. We want to get you back in there with your team. And we understand that you're anxious, but your training and rehab should not stop there. You need to continue your performance training. Remember, we talked about the increased incidence of re-injuring that reconstructed side, or the other limb can be at risk as well. We want to make sure that you continue to strengthen your body and you don't just forget about all the beneficial work that you did in the almost year leading up to that return to sport. There's a reason why these things get injured in the first place. Sometimes it's a neuromuscular issue, sometimes it's a cumulative fatigue issue, and we want to be careful of all that, and we want to make sure that you're doing right by your body and continue that training. So our recommendations are that you get back in the gym. We create plans for people. We want you and your knees to stay as strong as they need to be so you don't fall victim to being one of those statistics. So we want you doing pure raw strength in the gym. We want you doing reactive strengthening in the gym in addition to whatever training you're doing with your sport and with your team. So that raw strength is going to be things like deadlifts, you're going to be doing your squats, your front squats, your single leg squats. You're going to be doing a lot of single leg activity. You're going to continue those aggressively heavy step ups and deceleration, movements that are going to place a lot of stress on your knee and replicate the demands of that level 1 sport for that decelerating and reaccelerating. Okay, things like reactive strength. You're going to have to learn how to do your plyometrics, and you're going to have to continue to train those plyometrics all throughout your training and return to sport. Pivoting, changing direction, a lot of jumping exercises, landing and then jumping again in a straight line, side to side. These are all things that are going to be really important as far as checking off that reactive strength box. All right. So you can't just go back to your sport and then do nothing. We want you working on raw strength. We want you working on your reactive strength. We want you working on your neuromuscular control, things like balance and reaction and timing, to make sure that your body is as safe as it can possibly be. So inevitably, you guys are going to be anxious and excited to get out there, but we do have to shift our mindset as far as rehab professionals. And we're kind of saying that this continuum of care needs to adjust a little bit to continue to stay on that rehab plan for the next 2 years after you tear your ACL and get reconstructed and then get back to your participating activity. So we do recommend that we see our clients, or that at least they stay on their plan of care for 2 years, and that they follow up with us once a month in the first 6 to 8 months. Then we go to every other month for the next few months. And then ultimately it's every couple months or every 3 months leading up to that 2-year mark. That's just so we can keep extra eyes on you and make sure that you're doing the correct programming, the correct training, and we could also assess your progress and see where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, and make sure that we continue to hit those weaknesses. We don't want you to be a victim. We don't want you to fall, into that pitfall and be one of those statistics for somebody who re-tears their ACL or tears their other ACL for up to 2 years after that first one got reconstructed. So it sounds like a lot, but ultimately this is just what your body needs, and this is what the data is telling us. So get back into the gym, continue on that rehab plan. You're going to continue to strength train, and hopefully we can be part of that process. And if you have any questions, you guys obviously let us know. But up till then, and we hope you never have to go through this, but if you do, definitely know that people here at Feldman PT have your back.